curly bit. Stop curling. Don't want that to curl. It is what it is. Welcome to you. My name's Dale and this is Dale's Addiction. Today I'm going to share with you the luxury mistakes that I've made and hopefully stop you from making the same ones. But if you won't take my word for it and you have to make them yourself, or perhaps you've already made them and you're nodding along and having a little giggle, let me know in the comments, because I'll feel better about myself knowing I'm not alone. So there's 9 lessons that I have learned and they just kind of came to me this morning. I watched a couple of videos. I watched Vivian Connolly's video. I'll link that in the description box below. I watched Steph from Handbagholics video. I'll pop that in the description box below, and it kind of just made these things kind of float to the top of my brain, and I thought, you know what, I've got something to say that's kind of similar to those themes but different. So the first one is the obvious one, and then I'll get towards some juicy ones at the end, is buy what you love. If you can't stop thinking about something and it makes no sense, it seems impractical, maybe the price is a bit uncomfortable, my lessons are buy it, because you'll eventually buy it and you'll probably pay more for it. You'll probably buy something instead of that thing, so you'll actually pay more again because you'll buy that thing and you'll buy the thing that you originally loved. And Autumn Beckman did a video recently about her best luxury purchases, and her channel is about luxury and lifestyle on a budget, yet her best purchases were the things that really didn't make a lot of sense, I suppose, other than the fact that they spoke to her and, you know, they were out of her normal budget, they were out of her normal aesthetic, but they make her so happy, and that's why they're her best purchases. And I think when you're buying luxury, the whole thing is extra. It can't really be justified. It's unreasonable. And so buy what you love. Just buy what you love. The second mistake is don't ask other people for their opinion about something that you like. The problem with asking other people for their opinion, even your significant other, is that they might actually have you doubting your own thoughts. Sometimes, yes, they can bring something unique to the table, something you hadn't considered, and that's absolutely worthwhile. But when you're looking at spending this kind of money, and it's a very personal decision, it's like jewellery, you know, people have asked me what I think about things, and I'm like, I'm not going to tell you what I think, because I'm not going to be a dream crusher. If you love it and it speaks to you and you're asking me, do I think you should buy it? Do I think it's better than something else? You're putting me in a position where I could unknowingly crush your dream, crush your thoughts and your love for something, because you're going, oh, I really love it, but if I buy it, people are going to think it's ugly, or people are going to think it's this or that. Don't ask people for their opinions. It's better that you don't know. Don't expect to get your money back. I've recently just done a vlog sale, and I spoke about the results of that sale in a subsequent video, which I'll link in the description. But when you spend money, that money is gone. And no other part of our life do we expect to spend money on a consumer item and have that item return to us the exact value we paid, if not more. It's crazy to think like that. And when I say crazy, I mean it's unreasonable, because it's just a thing. And if your happiness or satisfaction with that thing is going to be based on whether or not one day you might not like it anymore, and if you decide to sell it, you're going to get all your money back, like that's not luxury at all. And this is a luxury mistakes video, so that's the context in which I'm sharing. these things. But don't expect others to like or endorse your significant purchases, including your partner or, close friends. There are many things that I have had in my collection in the past and still have today that my husband thinks are revolting. And, I've made videos about those and they're quite funny. But if I asked him up front what he thought about something and he said, oh, that's gross, my Chanel 19 reminded him of a turd, quite famously, I might not have bought that bag. I might not have enjoyed it. My Louis Vuitton Capucines, he says, reminds him of something else. It's not his opinion. He's not carrying the bag. And people might say, well, but if you share finances with your significant other, don't you want their buy-in or their approval? I think that's a totally different conversation, and I'm not going to cast aspersions on your relationship, but I would say if you're shopping luxury, then you need to buy what you love and don't expect other people to love it like you do. The fifth one is expect judgment and have a response ready for that judgment. Being worried about people judging you and not using your luxury is one thing, but something that I've picked up on is I used to be a bit altruistic, I suppose, and I didn't expect people to judge me, but the reality is everyone judges. I judge, we all do. And so if someone outwardly judges you, have a response ready. And I've made a few videos about luxury and judgment over the years, but my response is, thank you for noticing my bag. I really enjoy my luxury handbag collection. Or, why would you say that to me if it's something that's a little bit nasty? Or, what do you want me to think as a result of you saying that or asking that question? I think having your response ready to go, just like that, so it rolls off the tongue, puts you in a much more powerful and confident position than always being on the back foot and being taken, off guard. Number 6 kind of relates to number 5. Expect questions and engage with them about your luxury purchase. Sometimes people will say to me, and I had a situation recently where a friend was visiting and said, oh, I didn't realize you were so into these things, because I keep my YouTube and Instagram separate from my personal and my bag loving life. So I don't like to pollute my normal socials with stuff. I just like to keep it clean. And yeah, she didn't realize that I was so into it, and she asked me how much my next bag was going to cost, because she had been into Fendi and had a look because she'd known that I liked Fendi. And I told her, and she was absolutely gobsmacked, and she's like, oh my God, I cannot believe that you would pay that much for a bag. But good for you. If you can do that and you love it, good for you, And there was no judgment in that. But if I'd have said, oh, I don't want to say, and cut that down, I think that says more about our friendship than actually engaging in that conversation. And maybe I've miscounted these. This is number 7. Your relationship with your sales associate or client advisor is the thing that is most important in your kind of luxury shopping experience. Having rapport with each other, having transparency with each other, and by that I mean saying what you're actually interested in paying, what you're interested in seeing, what you're not interested in, whether you're in a position to pre-order things, whether you're interested in a new collection, whether you're in a position to purchase or you're just looking. And I think you've got to look at it from the perspective that time is limited and you spend your time where you're most likely to get a return on that investment. And that's the same for the customer as well. Like, you shop where you think you're going to get a return. Same for a sales associate or client advisor. You will prioritize your time with people who you expect are actually going to follow through. And whilst that may, grind on some people, I think it makes sense. I think it's up to you to kind of know what you want, how much your budget is, and to have realistic expectations before you even go into a store or start texting sales associates for things. But for me, originally I probably saw it as much more transactional than what I do now, and that's what that was the mistake that I made. Is I used to just go and shop with whomever I was allocated with on the day, whereas now if I have a sales associate, I will always make contact with them first. The next tip: avoid the hype unless you love it. For me personally, I have sold nearly every hyped bag that I've fallen for, a lot of which have been classics and bags that you had to have according to YouTube. Quite interestingly, just recently with the Fendi 25th anniversary drop, I nearly fell for the hype of the turquoise sequin baguette. Yes, I saw it initially, yes, I loved it, but I think it was the thrill of the chase and finding it and trying to source it that I loved more than the actual bag itself. And luckily I came to that conclusion before I ended up being in a position where I'm unboxing it and going, yeah, what did I do that for? But on the same token, the Chanel heart bag that's up the top there, super hyped bag. I bought it from a consignment store, the Luxe Theory by Rod. Hi Rod, if you're watching. And somebody was offered that bag as a VIP customer of Chanel and then just on-sold it. And that bag was super hyped and a lot of people had a lot of things to say about it, but I love it. And I've since sold my Chanel mini rectangular because I find the two duplicitous in my collection and I do not need them both. So I sold the mini rectangular, which a lot of people would be like, what? But a lot of people in my video understood my thinking around that too. So yeah, if you don't love it, then the hype means nothing. And my final tip there is an ugly side, and I guess one mistake that you can make is that everybody's on the same team when it comes to luxury shopping. And I think there's a really competitive side in luxury. I think people feel that there's a level of unfairness in luxury shopping, that certain people are offered certain things and others aren't. And most certainly I've felt aggrieved by that with some particular luxury houses. And, you know, even in the Fendi world, there are things that I don't get offered that other people get offered because I don't have the status. And understanding that there are tiers and status, and there's VIPs and there's VVIPs and there's, you know, the rest of those tiers. It's not to hold that against anybody, and I certainly haven't done that, but my mistake was not understanding that that actually exists and therefore being frustrated about not being able to access things in the store, particularly Chanel, for example, was misplaced frustration. Just find another way. Similarly, I share all the information that I find out about Fendi because Fendi's a brand that I love, as you know. I share that openly because I want people to have an opportunity to be able to find those things. There's a lot of people that have the information that I have that wouldn't dream of sharing it because they want to give themselves the best opportunity to get the pieces that they want from, say, the 25th anniversary drop or cruise or Sarah Jessica Parker or Tiffany and what have you, and they don't want to share that with you. And I understand why, but I don't agree with it. I think it's stupid. And if you have a great relationship with your SA, you're somebody who actually buys things, you have a history, you don't muck people around, then you're going to have a great chance of being given the opportunity to select things and pre-order and those sorts of things. So, and if you don't, it's something to know and something to work on. And rather than hide information and assume that nobody else knows it, I think for me, the thing that I've learned is there will be people that will hide information, and that's okay. That's how they work. But for me, it's about knowing that not everyone kind of operates in this kind of open, fluid way that I do, and that's a fact. You know, that's okay too. So yeah, the luxury mistakes that I have learned have been over a period of time. I'm still making them today. Sometimes I pick up on myself early, but I'd be interested to know from you, what are some of the mistakes that you've made along the way, assumptions potentially that you might have made, and things that you would warn others against doing in the future. It's been kind of good to put all that out there and, you know, try and help you guys to avoid what I'm doing and remind myself what I need to avoid doing too. But I super appreciate you watching this video. If you've gotten this far, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe. If you haven't already, I'd love to see you back. I put out videos on Wednesdays and Sundays and sometimes some extra ones. So until then, ciao. Life with bangs. Honestly, don't do it to yourself, people. Although this is looking very summery, isn't it? Okay.